Now, I've seen many things when looking into politics and the going ons in the world and what's happening, but I've never seen a Brit come out and say that they would rather live under the leadership of Putin as opposed to any of the prime ministers that it is that we've had right here in the UK. Even Liz Truss. So in today's video, we're going to watch this where a caller literally says just that, plus some other ridiculous things. As usual, I'm going to give you my thoughts throughout, and then when we get to the end, I'll unpack it in full.
This whole conversation about Donald Trump being in the wrong is completely absurd. Like, America spent tens of billions of taxpayers' dollars, and then to say that they don't have a right to even, negotiate on behalf of Ukraine. Because, let's face it, without America's funding, this war wouldn't be even
but
where
that doesn't mean
right
they
now.
have the right to sort of give away parts of Ukrainian territory without Ukraine's approval. I mean, Dean, we've given a lot of money to Ukraine. Giving money to a country doesn't mean you sort of gain control over what parts of territory it's allowed to keep or not. Donald Trump has the right to cut off that support.
When this peace deal is going to protect lives and save lives, let Russia have the land. If Russia can do something better with the land than what Ukraine's doing with it, surely it's what's better.
Do something better? What do you mean better?
Well, surely it's better than blowing it up and dropping bombs
but
on it.
Nobody was blowing it up until Russia invaded and started blowing it up.
So straight away, all of my viewers that are in the States, that are overseas, that aren't here in the UK, I just want to show you guys, we have people just like MAGA right here in the UK. Like, the notion that this individual is trying to say, just let Putin have the land, let America just have the land, and it's better than America doing it. It just doesn't even make sense. Doesn't make sense. And the notion that just because of the fact that aid has been sent to Ukraine as a result of that, they should be able to negotiate without having Ukraine at the table is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Now, we live in a democracy, and that is one of the things, especially in the West, one of the things that it is that we stand on, democracy, and we're all coming together and being allies to be able to support each other. That's the main reason as to why you've seen so many countries turn their back on the United States of lately, because of the fact that Donald Trump is literally working to break all the friendships and relationships the United States has. The problem with that is that he's only got 4 more years. The problem with that, furthermore, is that after those 4 years, guess what? Those relationships are going to have to be built again.
Well, I think that there's more facts that aren't necessarily disclosed at this point in history.
If Putin invaded Bristol, would you make the same argument?
I think it would be a great thing if the Russians invaded Britain. It couldn't get much worse than being under Starmer, could it?
Are you serious?
I am being serious. I think that what the world needs is true communism, and all this.
Do you think Putin is a true communist? Do you think you'd have multi-billionaire oligarchs getting rich in corrupt ways if this was true communism?
But real true communism, everyone would have equal opportunities and everyone would have the same standard of life.
And do you think that happens in Russia?
I see the world right now, there is a variation in living classes, and that shouldn't be the case in 2025.
So just to be completely clear, you would rather be ruled by Vladimir Putin than by Keir Starmer?
Yeah, because at least Putin is, if Putin says something, it's true. Whereas under the Labour government, they were voted in on a manifesto that they lied.
You think Vladimir Putin is a man of his word?
I think that Vladimir Putin can be trusted. He's not a man to cross, but
you don't think Vladimir Putin lies? So when Vladimir Putin says we had nothing to do with the poisonings of Sergei Skripal or Alexander Litvinenko, you say, okay, sure, must have been somebody else.
Well, when Theresa May comes out and points the blame at Russia
no, Dean,
for
let's stick
Sergei
with that
Skripal.
point.
You see, straight away, one of the things with people like these individuals, one of the things that they do when they get put in a position and something gets put back to them, the first thing that it is that they do is whataboutism. You know, talking about something. No, let's stick on the topic and answer the question. And the reason as to why they can't answer the question is because they know if they do answer it, it's going to make them look stupid, more stupid than he looks right now. This is such an embarrassing call, even up to this point, but there's still more to go.
You think that Vladimir Putin speaks the truth and only the truth?
Much more truthful than any previous.
You
Prime
think
Minister,
Vladimir
at least
Putin
in
is more
recent
truthful
history.
than Keir Starmer?
Oh, without a doubt. Honestly, Keir
Wow.
Starmer. When it comes out that Keir Starmer,
Wow.
with the expenses claims for
Right. Okay.
like,
So
clothes
you have less of an issue with assassinating political opponents than you do with somebody accepting a free suit.
Well, people don't. People need to understand that politics is very different from where it was 50 years
Okay.
ago. To where
So
it is
using
now.
radioactive substances on your political opponents, no big deal. But letting Lord Ali buy you some glasses is the worst thing that Keir Starmer could ever do. Is that, Dean? Just want to be really clear that you think murder is sort of somehow acceptable on the part of leaders, but taking donations for their clothes isn't.
Vladimir Putin isn't the only leader in the world or a political figure in the world that's got this stigma attached to him.
Dean, do you realise that you are currently on national radio condoning killing your political opponents?
I'm not condoning loss of life. I don't agree with
So
that.
just to be really clear, murdering your political opponents, we can agree is a bad thing.
Yes, it is
Great.
a bad thing.
Okay. But you still think that Keir Starmer is worse than the man that murders his opponents?
Great believer in
What
the
are you a
needs
great
of the
believer in?
many outweigh the needs of the few.
Right. And do you think the
loss
needs of the
one
Russian
person,
Dean, do you think the needs of ordinary Russians are being a front and centre of Vladimir Putin's mind right now? Do you think the needs of ordinary Russians are behind everything he does? Do you think that's why he and his cronies and his allies have got absolutely unfathomably rich while the Russian economy tanks?
Okay, but what about the British taxpayer?
That's not what I'm
American
asking you, Dean.
taxpayer?
Dean, that's not what I'm asking
Wouldn't they
you.
be better off if there was a peace deal?
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, you're claiming that Vladimir Putin is some sort of socialist hero who rules with complete sort of love for the people that he serves. And I wonder what planet you're living on.
His Russian counterparts,
Dean, I honestly wonder what propaganda you've swallowed and how you've got as much room in your body for the amount of Kremlin bilge that you've clearly swallowed.
Well, the way I see it is the Kremlin
is what?
The Kremlin is within its right to do what they see fit in the interests of their.
Right. So we're back to just murdering opponents and complete repressing dissent and closing down the media. You don't really believe in free speech. You don't really believe in political freedom. You don't really believe in not invading other countries because you fancy a bit of their territory. They're within their rights to do all of it.
Okay, but let's look at freedom of speech in the UK. I mean, you get locked up for a Facebook.
Do you think there's more
nowadays.
freedom of speech?
Honestly, I'm going to be very candid with yourselves. I can't believe this call. Just similar to the one I made a video about yesterday. I just can't believe this call. There's people like this living amongst us. You know, Putin apologists. Imagine going on national radio in the UK and being an apologist for Putin. Like trying to defend, and stand up for Putin. Like, and then to go even further and try and make out that you'd prefer living under Putin's reign as opposed to Keir Starmer's. Like, this is wild. Let's continue. Not long left, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
Oh, Dean, you got to. I'm laughing because otherwise I'd cry.
In a democracy,
Right, okay.
But if there was democracy, when there was that petition on being signed online, there should have been a general election.
Okay, so if you incite violence on Facebook, you got a problem with it. But if the state comes around and locks you in a gulag, Dean, I've had enough. I've had enough of your complete Putin apologism. I don't know where.
So look, I'm not really the biggest fan of when they cut people off. I'm going to be honest, I'm not. But what I will say with this is that, unfortunately, the caller Dean became unbearable. He became unbearable. And the reason as to why is you can see he can't stick to one point. He's bouncing all over the place trying to make his point. You heard him speaking about, what about this? We're meant to live in a democracy. But he literally just said he wouldn't mind being living under the power of Putin, a man who doesn't believe in democracy, who gets rid of his political opponents, and literally is willing to murder them. And like you heard the host say, while him and his cronies get extremely wealthy, extremely rich, the economy in Russia, it tanks, it goes down, and the people struggle. We have people just like MAGA. He was an example of MAGA to me. These are people you can't have a conversation with, you can't argue with, you can't debate with, because regardless of whatever it is that you say, all they're going to do is they're going to bounce around purely because of the fact that they're not having a conversation with you to be open to opinions being changed. They're having the conversation with you because they want you to believe what it is that they believe. And no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter the amount of facts that it is that you present, they're always going to have an answer. Because when it's all said and done, if Putin was to take over the UK tomorrow, the fact is Dean would not be happy. He would not be happy living under the reign of Putin as opposed to Keir Starmer. Weird stuff. But guys, look, thank you guys for taking the time to check out this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. What's your thoughts when it comes to Dean and this entire call? While you're down there, hit the subscribe button if you're interested in hearing an outsider's point of view on all things American politics. Even though this is about right here in the UK, but Putin, Trump, this is all related. But hit the subscribe button. And while you're down there, hit the thumbs up purely for the YouTube algorithm. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one.